Hello, it's Riley. I'm super excited to make another video. Today we are going to be talking about Margiela. This is one of my favorite designers. This book is seriously amazing. Like here, I'll show you. I can lose my page. It's pictures of all of his collections. So iconic. You know, we love a book that's full of pictures. I know I do, at least. But anyways, the words are important too. So today I wanted to talk about Margiela's Spring-Summer 2009 collection, which, as some of you may know, it was Margiela's last collection with the house. So I'm super excited to dive into just all the details about it. Today I have my Health Aid Kombucha in Citrus Immune Boost because I've had like a little cough. I don't think it's anything of much concern, but it's not fun. Okay. What else do I have with me? I have my book, as you just saw. I have my notes. I actually do not have my Vogue Runway app. Let me grab it. Okay, we're back. I have my Vogue Runway app. I have my Margiela book. I have my kombucha with me. And then also I have, for inspiration, these are my pink heel tabbies, a little low heel, a little tabby moment. In this box here, this is fun. I feel like I'm doing like an unboxing, but of shoes I've owned forever. Eee, how good are these? I love these little tabby sandal heel things. I actually bought these in an 8.5, which is kind of embarrassing because I am a 6.5, but I saw them and they were on sale and I had to have them, so I bought them. And then these ones, these are my favorite ones from my collection. Da-da! Like, how can you not like love these? Like, how can you put these on and not just smile? Like, I love her. Yay. Now that we have all of our tools, we know what we're working with, we are ready to get to business. So today we're going to be looking at Margiela's Spring-Summer 2009 collection. This collection is very important in the Margiela history timeline, as it is the 20th anniversary collection of Margiela founding the house. The press kits that were given to the audience before the show began had this quote on it that I want to read. 20 years, 40 shows, hundreds of garments, and what is left? What defines us? What is at the heart of our identity? And how do we describe it? We have to reinvent ourselves based on our part. So I think this quote is very referential to the history of Margiela himself leading up to this moment. And by that, I mean a lot of fashion editors, people in the fashion scene, when they're writing about Margiela, speaking about him, he's often referred to as the mystery man, in the sense that people don't know much about him. He wasn't truly a public figure in the sense that we think of celebrities. He was more reclusive. Some people call him camera phobic, as there's only, I could be wrong, I think there's like 3 photos of him on the internet. So cool, but like, give us more. But he's not. He's very shy. I don't know. He just wanted to step out of the spotlight and not let his face be shown as much. And it seems to me, at least, like he more wanted to be known for his garments and like let his work stand on its own versus himself. And purely from my speculation, we see that Margiela had a lot of inspiration from Andy Warhol, and it just shows that this is like the exact two opposite sides of the spectrum, because you think of Andy Warhol and you kind of think of him, right? I mean, at least I do. Like, you think of his like his crazy white hair and his glasses, and then you think of his art. Versus Margiela, I think he wanted the exact opposite, where he wanted you to be forced to think of his art and his work before thinking of him. It's just kind of interesting that he took inspiration from a figure like Andy Warhol, but they are, like I said, like complete two opposite sides of the spectrum when it comes to being in the public eye. Margiela has a quote that says, "Anonymity is very important to me, and it balances me that I am like everybody else." I really admire Margiela and his just like desire to be a designer and his passion. And I feel like that's a true testament of somebody that they don't really want to be famous for like the fame and the notoriety and the glamour. Like he kind of just wanted to design and put his things out into the world and let people perceive him solely based on his art and what he makes. Okay, enough about Margiela. I could legitimately ramble on about him for maybe another hour, but nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to see that. So we are going to hone in and we are going to focus on the 2009 Spring Summer collection, also known as the last collection that Margiela was at the helm of his house at. And it's kind of interesting. I read a story that there was speculations and rumors saying that Margiela was going to be leaving the brand, and it wasn't really confirmed, and that people were like, no, he's not going to leave the brand. He's not going to leave the brand. Like, just, watch and enjoy the show. And that I guess after the show, he was like, oh no, like I am retiring. This is my final show. But I also heard on the flip side that the shows after this one, so like, the 2010 shows, 2011 shows, people still weren't positive if Margiela was at the helm or not. I don't know how true that is. I feel like I read quite a few conflicting articles about it when I was, doing my research, because I am a professional here on this YouTube channel. But anyways, I mean, that's like a true testament of anonymous, right? It's like you're designing these clothes, you have this house, and people don't even know if you're at the helm or not. People don't even know if you're designing it, because your brand is this aesthetic that you've curated so well. So people saw it and still thought, Margiela, that's Margiela, even though it might have been, Jean-Paul Gaultier or, whoever was designing at that time. This show in particular was the perfect way to mark Margiela's retirement and end his time at the house, as this show was inspired by 20 years of designs, his 40 shows, and one look in each of this show was inspired from one of his other 40 shows. Did I phrase that right? Does that make sense? It has 40 looks, and each look is inspired by a previous season, by a previous show that he did. It's truly like a lifelong project coming to like a conclusion. That being said, since this collection is 40 looks, all referential to past looks, it would take me forever to get through every single look, which, I mean, we could do that, but I don't want to feel like I'm holding you hostage, making you watch a like 3.5 hour YouTube video. So I'm going to keep it short and sweet and just show you like the 3 highlight looks that I think I noticed most from this show, and share my thoughts with you. So let's do that. We're going to dive in. So let's start on look 1. So when I was reading about how the actual presentation of the show went, it sounded like there was a big spotlight coming this way with like a runway. And when it started, they expected the model to like walk this way, right? From spotlight, model walking this way. But Margiela opened the show backwards, so spotlight, runway, and the model came this way. So that's why in this first photo, her back is to us. A key detail of this show is that to preserve the model's own anonymity, they are adorned in these like veils and these gauzes, which is very house specific. We've seen it in quite a few shows in the past. We did see briefly, there were these really fun, like, I don't even know, it looks like a big like loofah sponge, and these crazy wigs. So just all of these like key references that are very signature to the house and his previous collections. The next thing we notice is the lab coat that is worn. So this white dress is meant to resemble a lab coat in the sense that there is a uniform for the Margiela's Parisian atelier, and that is that all of his crafts, all of his, people that work there at the atelier, they have this signature uniform, and it's a lab coat. So I found this really cool photo of his associates. I don't know what to call them because I don't think they're all seamstress, but they're all very crucial in making it happen. And then there's that empty seat, which is supposed to be for Margiela's. He doesn't like to be photographed. Sorry, my phone ran out of storage, so we're gonna try and keep this concise with the limited amount of storage that I do have left. So, lab coats, we got that. The face is being obscured, we got that. The last detail on this look is the back of the leg has that stripe down the bare leg. That's not a tight, that's literally like a pencil, a kohl. So that pencil is referential to his very first collection. He did this on the runway, in which he had these really high slit maxi skirts, and he drew lines down several of the model's legs to imitate the look of a, what do you call that? Like a stocking, like a nylon. And this detail in itself is referential to a technique that was used in the 40s during the textile shortages, in which women would do similar things. They would draw a line on the back of their legs to stimulate the appearance of a nylon or a stocking. So it's all coming together. It's all a reference within a reference. And one last thing to note is the shoes are meant to appear as if she's like walking on her tippy toes. He used a completely nude heel with the shoe too small on the model, so it literally looks like her heel is levitating. And again, going back to his very first collection in 1989, this was another technique that he used. It was the first introduction of the tabby boots. Fashion was changed forever. But during that show, he did use this completely nude colored tabby boot in which he wanted to emulate the look of being barefoot, but still being on your tippy toes. Okay, so now we're moving on to look 2. So this look is referential to his 1996 collection, in which a new technique was developed by Margiela. He hired 4 photographers to take photographs of 12 different garments, like literally on a hanger. They took a picture of the front, they took a picture of the back, and then, let me get this right, he took those pictures and he printed them. I don't know if it was like a screen, I don't think it was a screen printing technique. I guess just like a printing, like ink printing, on a really lightweight fabric to create this whole new look. 12 garments already made, already exist. One of them was like a Parisian coat from like 1942. So snapped a picture of it front and back and then printed it onto just these really lightweight, almost transparent fabrics. The colors that he used specifically for these printings was meant to emulate the look of like a photocopy. So that's why you'll notice it's all in gray, sepia, black, blue. Copy, paste. Really just, he brings his own life into the garment and makes it his own. I love that you can see the negative space in some of the pieces. It's like you see where the bottom of the hem is, and then you see the white cloth underneath of the actual fabric that he used to print on top. But tying it back into look number 2, the same exact process is used. This is a sheer transparent fabrication that's being used, in which he printed on, again, that like negative photo print of another garment. It's very, very amazing, very stunning. And the last look from this show that I want to talk about is look number 5. Look number 5 is a direct reference to his spring-summer 1997 show. He began using it's called the Stockman, which is the classic bust that you picture using for like a draping technique when sewing. So during this time, Margiela himself was learning the true haute couture way of making fashion pieces. He was studying draping for the first time. So he was obviously inspired by his time learning and took a very direct approach. In his 1997 show, you can see that the 42 here is supposed to be the size of the bust. So it was a size 42 bust. He even kept that little logo at the bottom. Like it looks like a direct bust that he was supposed to be making a garment on top of, but he made the bust the garment by highlighting the silhouette with the broad shoulders, the cinched waist, and on top of look number 5, it looks as if it's little pattern piece. One other technique I have seen before is people will cover their busts in duct tape and then they cut it out of the bust to then lay it on top of fabric and use it as a guide to make their pattern pieces. So I'm not sure if maybe that's what he was inspired by. I really don't think Margiela is using duct tape. Well, actually, I guess that's not out of the realm of possibility. Because this whole collection overall, when I look at it, it's like almost teetering the line of like, what is fashion? Like, what is a garment? Look number 8, for example. It's like, is that a garment? What defines a garment? Look number 11. I don't want to say it, this might be controversial, but that kind of looks like something right off a Balenciaga runway. All in all, I feel like these pieces just go back to that quote that I read at the very beginning. The part where it says, what defines us? What is at the heart of our identity? And how do we describe it? Like, I feel like it's almost breaking down the question of like, what really is fashion? What is considered a garment? Very thought-provoking. I'm going to leave you with that one because I don't have an answer. I don't think there is an answer. I think fashion is much like art. It's in the eye of the beholder. So thanks for watching this little video. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope, maybe you learned a little bit about Margiela. Maybe you feel inspired. If anything, I highly, highly recommend getting this book. I love this book. I think this is like great book. I may be making another video. So, if you don't want to get the book, you can just keep watching my YouTube channel. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.